Right? Okay, great. So, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. This webinar on AI-powered learning personalization is brought to you by Skillemme, where we empower organizations, institutions for future-ready training in technology, leadership, digital skills, and executive education. So, at Skillemme, our mission is to make learning impactful, relevant, and tailored and today's session reflects exactly that. Uh, so uh, uh, we are delighted to have Mr. Aman as a subject matter expert for today's webinar. Aman is a corporate AI enablement leader and Gen AI leader architect backed by over 30 years of experience across global organizations, including Microsoft, Oracle, HP, and HCL. He specializes in designing and implementing AI-driven learning and transformation strategies for enterprises. His real-world customer-facing leadership experiences, including working closely with C-suite executives, makes his approach practical, relatable, and deeply impactful. Aman has enabled organizations like Godrej Industries, Crompton Greaves, and Paperboat through his AI adoption programs and continues to be a recognized mentor and speaker in this field. So we are honored to have him to lead this today's discussion. So thank you, Aman, for taking time out of your busy schedule and doing this for us. So over to you.
Wonderful, Mr. Patil, and thank you so much. Um, Also, thank you to all the participants who are here on the session, who are watching the live stream, so on and so forth. I really appreciate for giving me an opportunity to present myself and, um, telling you something about little bit about I know about uh, AI, little bit. And why do I say a little bit? Because AI, as we know, typically it is an ocean. Why so? It is wide and it is deep. Um, as I'm kind of literally, I would say, an IT professional, 35 years, by far and large, I obviously love technology. But now, let me tell you something. I really get scared. Why? Every day that I read, yeah, and I do have to read every day. It's my food. I get so scared because I realize how little I know, right? But let's try to make the best of it, right? Whatever we know, let's try to make the best. And I'm going to show this to you. And also, trust me, I'm going to prove it to you. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be super easy. Well, give me just a moment and let me share my entire screen, right? And here we go on the presentation aspects. Good. Okay, let me just do a few adjustments to things over here. Good. Okay, wonderful. So we are talking about AI for leadership learning development. Well, I told you about it's in kind of an ocean. The flexibility, and we are going to see all these things. The flexibility. It is so versatile, it is so flexible that it can flex itself to work not only for L&D, it can work for sales, marketing, HR, leadership. Yeah, leaders kind of do understand this in terms of their vision, mergers and acquisitions, the VUCA, as we know, volatility, uncertainty, so on and so forth. It can be used by interns, students. It can be used for applications, Excel, PowerPoint, so on and so forth. Well, so as we move forward, the intent over here is to make it practical. We may or may not know theory, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. So all this is literally almost, I would say, 90% hands-on. If you can try with me, nothing like it. Okay. But if you cannot, listen-only mode. All you have to do is sit back, relax, enjoy. Okay. So practical ways in which generative AI can personalize. The word here is personalize. Okay. The expectation, of course, So it is designed for you all my friends who are experienced L&D professionals. Um, what is the difference? And being L&D professionals, more than me, the fact what participants want. Participants want it to be like what we see on the screen as Netflix, Amazon, Spotify. What are these? Of course, we all know. But the very fact is they are easy to understand. If I get you on Netflix, I don't have to learn. There is no major learning curve in a Netflix, say, for example. So it is easy. It is personalized. That is the most important thing. And it walks with me. So if I'm watching a movie on Netflix and I get a call, the movie doesn't continue. I just say pause and it pauses, and I say resume, it resumes from the same point. So it is walking with me, and that is very important. And why so? Because all of us are different types of learners. And the benefit over here, it gives us exactly the same support that we want. Okay. So the traditional learning, this is what I would say. The traditional learning will make you wait, whereas AI learning will make us, uh, AI learning reacts by itself. Well, okay, just give me one. Okay. This is typically the traditional learning that we look at is in terms of, say, for example, a book has been given to the learner. Everything is there. And then the book waits for the learner to catch up, read, reread. That doesn't happen anymore because we all want something which is bite-sized learning. What is easy to eat? Club sandwich or a biscuit? Biscuit, of course, right? So if we are learning something humongous, it might be simple. Doing too much of it is like feeding our brains with a club sandwich, which is difficult to digest. Cognitive load, you would have heard about this, right? That's exactly it is. So how about supplying the thing to the brain with a biscuit which is easily digestible? Okay, good enough. The second, what we talk about is a personalized micro lesson. A personalization can go to the extent of the way in which the learner wants to learn. And I promised you something, that we will do something which is going to interest all of us. So here is a little bit about things related to the personalization aspect. Okay. Now, well, I do at times have a challenge with, say, for example, um, learning in, say, for example, English or speaking in English, assume. And I have been given a particular task that I need to send an email communication to all the employees. The employee has just joined HR or whichever department. The employee is supposed to send communication to all the employees for onboarding. Sorry, not onboarding. That there is a offset or offsite. Sorry, offsite. Well, so write an email. Okay. So the employee will go ahead and will say, okay, I don't know, what should I do? Okay, well, um, let's look at this. One way in which an employee says is this, and I'm not going to type it. I told you, I'll prove it to you. It's so easy. I want to write an email to all the employees telling them about an offsite. Help me write an email. Good. Did it catch everything that I wrote? Wonderful. I don't have to type anymore. So this is machine learning in its true sense. There we go. Good. Well, I don't think so. It's a little dry. It's a little dull. So what do I do? Everybody requires personalization. So what will I do? Now, I want to make it really interesting. I also realize that there are a lot of elements that are missing. things which I do not know. So before you proceed, ask me all the questions that you know from your knowledge and experience based on a team outing. I will respond basis which you can send me or give me the email. What have I done? I've said make it interesting, right? The word is interesting. There are a lot of elements that are missing. So what did I say? Ask me all the questions. Enter. Oh wow! Oh my God! I completely forgot the purpose. Wow. Okay, audience, who all are coming? Oh my. Okay, because I've just joined the organization. I missed that. Okay, date, of course. Yeah, location, logistics, agenda, expectations, tone and style of the email, sender details. Oh wow! I missed 22 of the important elements that were supposed to be a part of the email. Right? Now, am I going to answer all these 22? Of course. Yes. No, no. Please, please. Because we will spend the rest of the day or the rest of the hour in doing only this. So, hypothetically, I will say, well, I want you to assume all the answers, but one of the aspect is it has to be super interesting for employees. This is the tone I used. And there we go. So it tells me what it has understood. I'm delighted to share some exciting news. We are doing this, key details, date, venue, timings, what to expect, logistics, what to bring. See how it does, how it changes. Liked it? Well, hang on. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We go back to the slides. This is what I say is personalized micro learning. Now, this was a micro learning for somebody who's just joined the organization who does not know anything related to what am I supposed to do. So the person who just joined the organization, who was supposed to send the email, has quickly learned, oh, wow, these are the things that I need to be mindful of when, even if it's sending just an email. We all have been using ChatGPT, etc., for learning. Incidentally, I come across a lot of questions where participants ask me, Chat GPT, I'm a chat, I understand, maybe chatting, but what is GPT? Well, just a little bit. I said about 10% of theory. So just to kind of bring everyone to the same level, GPT, what does it mean? G is generative. It generates responses. We saw that, right? I said, write an email. It generated a response. I will say, create an image. It'll create an image. A video, it'll do that. Okay. So it generates a response, which is why generative. Just the way a student is trained, a student goes to the school, comes back, and the parents ask, what did you learn? Oh, I learned 1+1. The next day, what did you learn? I learned 3+5. The student learns on a daily basis. So the student is pre-trained. Tell me a poem. Okay, so and so, the poem. So the student is pre-trained when he comes home. He's pre-trained to tell that this is what I know. So generative, pre-trained, and all of things that we build, anything, including software, has an architecture, and the architecture on which all these GPTs are built is a transformer architecture, which is why it is known as a generative pre-trained transformer. ChatGPT just happened to name it as GPT, but when we talk about a Microsoft Copilot, a Google Gemini, a Perplexity, a Claude, all of these are GPTs. Okay, quick, let's move on. Okay. Prompt. So what we do is a prompt. Simple. Prompt are instructions. Complex? No, you already know it. Okay. So what are the elements of a prompt? Now, here is something which you don't really need to say, oh my God, I have to remember this. No, I'm going to just give you an example. Okay. And the example over here is that you first and the most important aspect is giving it a task. You're going to write it down. Hey, don't. I told you what. Sit back, relax, enjoy. Task. You have been already giving a task to anyone and everyone that you interact with. Think about it. You traveling from home to maybe your workplace, and assuming you are taking public transport. What do you say? In a bus, there's a conductor, or maybe at a metro, maybe in a cab, maybe you've got a chauffeur driven car. What do you say? I want to go here. Give me a ticket for this. Well, that is it. We all do that. Perfect. So that's a given. Okay. Now, say, for example, I'm going to give you five, six examples so that you remember this correctly. So, the example, the second is assuming I am waiting for maybe the cab and it's going to take a long time. So, I just see maybe a restaurant or something. And I said, let me have a quick coffee. Winter times, right? Yeah. So, a coffee is always a good thing. So, what do? I walk in and I say, I want a coffee. Now, I'm going to be served with a coffee, isn't it? Yes. But will that coffee be to my taste? No. Why? Because it is based on their process. So what happens? I will get a coffee, but the coffee will not be to my taste. In technical words, which you don't really need to remember, this is known as zero shot prompting. Zero shot is write an email. I told you, right? Write an email where you don't give a context. Nothing. No context, no examples. Okay. If you just want to know something about what is the function of learning and development, that's it. Zero shot at the highest level. Tell me something about global warming. Zero shot. Okay. Now, because I've not liked the coffee experience, the next day, same thing happens. And I walk into the same restaurant and I say, oh, well, I'd like to have a coffee, but I want it hot. I want it very strong. And please, no sugar. Good. Oh, by the way, do you use Nescafe? Yes, sir, we do. Nescafe, please. Now what happens? I've given a context. What is the context? Hot, strong. I put in a constraint saying that I do not want this is a constraint. I want this. I do not want this. And the third thing which I said was Nescafe, an example. Now tell me, will the coffee be to my taste? Yes. Congratulations. You have learned about the key elements of prompting, which is a task, zero shot. Giving examples is few shot. Next, the tone in which you interact with the waiter. So tone is important. I said, I want an email that should sound very exciting is the tone and the format. Format could be bullet points, a table. There you go. The most important elements. Congratulations, my friends. You have just learned that. Okay. Now we're going to take it to the next level. Have a little more fun. Create a personalized micro lesson negotiations for a sales professional, so on and so forth. Or it could be objection handling, which is coming up. Oh, so I'm going to tell the poor sales professional that, my friend, what you do is you go and listen to this YouTube video on what do you say? Objection handling. Okay. Sales negotiations, objection handling, some topic. Oh, poor guy. The challenge which he or she faces is has to go through a 13.43 minute video. 13 minutes video. Wow. Okay. So difficult for him or her. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to copy the URL, what you see over here on the screen, Control C. I go into another LLM. All these are LLM, large language models, ChatGPT. This is one of them. This is fine-tuned towards summarizing YouTube videos. Now don't get confused. You can do the same thing in ChatGPT, but here is an example, a metaphor which I will give you, which will make you understand it better. I'm so confused. ChatGPT, or say, for example, this one, which is Note GPT, what is the difference? Okay, you can do it in ChatGPT also. Now, let's talk about that. This shirt that I'm wearing, I can have it in two ways. One is buy the cloth, go to a tailor and get it stitched, the long process. The second is I see the same thing in a store and I just buy it. So what happens? If I do it here, I can of course do it here, saying that this is the URL, summarize it for me. I want this, I do not want this, the constraint, so on and so forth, is like buying cloth. But when we put it into a GPT, which is tuned for that. All I have to do is it gives me a place where I just enter the URL and click on a button which says summarize now. In Chat GPT, I would have to write all of these things. And what we do is right now, do we see this same thing, which was there as part of this video? It has picked up that video, and this right here below where you see my mouse is the entire transcript of those 13 minutes. We go down and what do we see? 13.32. Do we see that? 13.32? Yeah. So this is the entire transcript. What this gentleman has spoken is everything word to word is here. But that's not what we intend. That transcript can always be found over here. Any YouTube video, when you go over here and say more, you go slightly down and you say show transcript. On the right hand side, you will have the transcript. Just give me a moment. Show transcript. Well, over here it is. This is the transcript. But in our case, what happens? You get the core points. That is it. Right? So you have got the core points. The training for the employee is truncated. He or she picks up only the important points. Now it does all of these things. You can also try summarizing from these angles. So generate a summary, highlights, and key insights. The word is all about insights, isn't it? So the idea is I just assuming click this, it will give me the core points, the summary, and it gives me a summary of a summary, highlights, key insights. There you go, only so much, and we truncate all our learning of 13 minutes into this. If I say I just want bullet points, it can provide me with bullet points, right? Okay, now give me just a moment. I am going to go over here and it says a smart summary, chapter summary, AI note, industry and market summary, market reports, financial statements, annual. What do you want? Of course, this has got nothing to do with market reports and finance. But at the same time, let me take a chapter summary over here. Okay. So this is the chapter summary. Let me take this part, conclusion. I will just take the conclusion. Control C. I'm going to copy it. I go into a Chat GPT. So what am I doing over here? Are you confused? Someone is jumping from a Chat GPT to a Node GPT to a Chat GPT. Well, think about it as the fact that we end up in a restaurant and we have a meal. During a meal, we may say, okay, we also want to have desserts. And we say, okay, let's see the desserts. And somebody says, hey, sorry, not over here, right? I know a great place where we can go and have desserts. Let's all go there. So what do? While we are having the meal in one place, we have the dessert somewhere else. So what do? We keep jumping from one place to another to suit our requirements. Remember the word personalization? So what am I going to do? The following is a conclusion of a particular video that talks about a particular aspect in sales. I want you to convert this to bullet points that can eventually be used to prepare a PowerPoint slide deck. Simple instructions. This, what I'm speaking, is known as NLP, my friends, natural language processing. Shift enter, Control V, enter. Good. Now, what will I say? Rephrase these points into your own words using your knowledge and experience and convert it in something which could be an 8-slide PowerPoint template. The language that you use should be in line with what Gamma.app understands easily so as to give me 8 slides based on Gamma. Gamma? What is gamma? I'm going to tell you in a moment. So I said, rephrase this now. It is going to rephrase it in its own words. See, slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, title, slide 4. So this is a language which an application known as Gamma understands much better. This all comes with experience. I've been doing it for I don't know how many years now, since we first saw ChatGPT, since maybe 3 years now. So Gamma as an application, which I will just show it to you in a moment, understands it much better when you say slide 8, title, content. Slide 5, title, content. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to select all of these, Control C. I go into Gamma. The thing over here is gamma.app. Remember, it's not gamma.ai. There is another site called gamma as AI, but that's a very different one. The one which I'm referring to is gamma.app. And what do I do? All these applications make it super easy so that we do not need to have a very steep learning curve. So in this case, what happens? The first thing which even a child can say is the only thing which kind of takes our eyes to it, draws our attention to that is create new. You see, everything is just black and white, except for a little blue. But what strikes attention? This word. So see, so easy. So I'll just go. This is what intuitive is, where it tells you, come here, come here. It highlighting, click me, you click. Now it says generate, paste in the text, import file or URL, or remix a template. I already have something which is already generated. So I don't want it to be regenerated. So what will I say? Paste in the text. So I click this. What is the way in which you want it? A presentation, you want a web page, a document, a social. Social is vertical. So I will just say Control V. I paste in this, 8 slides. What do I want? I want notes, summarize. I want to preserve the text. Preserve and see. Did you realize something? I am only clicking, literally clicking and speaking. I'm not typing anything. And what do? I click over here. Now, what does it do? It asks me, I said preserve. Which language do you want? Assuming it's English. English can also be British English or American English. Summarize, SUMMARISE or SUMMARIZE or ZE as Americans call it. You have the various options of which language do you want it? What is the theme that you want? How do you want the images? All of these. What is the format? So on and so forth. So here it says 8 cards. We call it slides. Gamma calls it cards. And all I do is just click and just have maybe a sip of water. So what do I do? Times like this, I also sit back, relax, enjoy. The speed at which it generates the document. It's just 8 slides. It can go up to 15 slides, 20 slides, 30, 40, 50, 60 slides. It's all up to you. This is, of course, paid. So I pay some 500 rupees a month for it to do this. Now, what do? On the left-hand side, I click on slide number 1 and click. Right from here, I present it. I also have the option of a full screen presentation, understanding sales objections, preparations, foundation. They are not roadblocks. Lead with empathy. Do you see this bite-sized learning? That is exactly what is required by learners today. And I said, you know it much better than what I do, right? So this is the aspect. And finally, if you want maybe any other specific detail, you can always do that. This can always be customized to your organization brand, colors, logo, so on and so forth. So the colors that you see over here, the blue and the lavender, etc., are colors of my branding. So I've said, okay, this is my brand. This is way. So it syncs with my LinkedIn profile. It syncs with my web page. It syncs with everything everywhere else, where I will be using precisely the same color. Oh, so is that it? No, not as yet. The as we, if I could just be, what do you say? Suddenly I realized if I could just be permitted to speak in Hindi, as we say, the thing related to a very popular Hindi movie dialogue, picture abhi baki hai mere dost. So what do we do here? I can export it from here to or directly to a PDF, which can make it a carousel for LinkedIn. I can export it to a PowerPoint, Google Slides, PNGs, and directly to LinkedIn. It can also go and sit directly into my uh, web page, right? I can also share it with you. I can collaborate. Okay. This is the power that we have been speaking about, a personalization to the max. Moving on. Um, it uses your existing content and objectives, as we know, your content, what you want. It uses that and moves and does something new, and which is why it's known as generative, right? It creates role aligned learning paths, a lot of different learning paths, and all associated with a particular role. So you do not have to reinvent the wheel. Say, for example, you want to create an onboarding document as L&D, onboarding document for freshers, right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel and say, okay, now create an onboarding document for employees who are 5 years experience or mid-level managers. Nothing. The same thing can be rewritten to align with those. One policy becomes a summary, a quiz, a scenario, and a manager guide. Just one policy. Did we talk about a quiz over here? Okay. So what do? I go into a new chat. Ideally, what you might have realized, I keep clicking on a new chat every time I change the topic. So this movie, you got to see this. It's kind of a great movie. Last night I saw this, etc. Suddenly, when I change a topic, I said, you got to see this movie. It was great. In your mind, it was like, what happened? For a split second, it was like I was talking about a new prompt, and then I said, you got to watch this movie. What happened? Confusion, right? For a split second. But because the human mind is capable of understanding context very well, we realize that, okay, well, he's talking of some movie, giving some example. But if it happens with AI, it will also understand, but it will also be confused. So instead of that, what do we do? So you have started realizing about the new chat that I do. Oh, by the way, last night I happened to see a movie, and that movie was blah 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 blah. Now what has happened? I was on a track, and when I'm changing track, what do we generally say? Oh, by the way, something something, which may be completely not related or relevant. So when we do that, a golden rule for any chat GPT or any GPT for that matter is if you're talking about a particular thing, continue interacting. So on the left hand side, it's all about sales objection handling. If I am on sales objection, I can continue chatting with it, right? But if I'm talking about something new, something which is not related, a good practice is go to a new chat always. Now, what am I going to do? I want you to create a 10 question MCQ quiz for employees who have just joined the organization. They have gone through the basics of the training related to the things which they are expected to do in an organization in terms of data security, so on and so forth. Help me with a 10-question MCQ for this. I have just spoken something very random, and I'm talking of a 10-question MCQ. Which of the following best describes confidential information? A, B, C, or D? Right? Number 2, number 3. Now it has given me 10 questions. Where is the challenge? No challenge, except one. How am I going to give this quiz to the employees? Copy this, put it in Word, and give it to them? Old school. Make Google Slides, maybe Google Forms out of this? Maybe. Okay. Another way is we can look at something known as a specialized software, which is known as Mentimeter. Many of you might have used this. Now my problem, I'll tell you. Where is the problem? I will have to say a new Menti. See the number of clicks, new Menti. So it does that. And incidentally, by the way, now you realize, okay, incidentally, when we use this, all the things which I'm showing you by far and large are free, except for Gamma. Okay. So what do I say? Maybe a new slide. Click on new slide. I click on multiple choice. See, 3 clicks already. Okay. Ask the question here. So I have to, just give me a moment. I have to get into ChatGPT, copy this question, maybe 5th or 6th click. And now I come over here and it asks me the options. So I keep going here. I copy this, Control C, option 1, then option 2. Here is a detail. Of course, you would not be able to see it because it's too small. So I'll have to do that. After that, a new slide. So imagine for each MCQ, I have one question and the 4 possible answers. So I have got 5 sentences. For 10 questions, it means I will have to do it 50 times. Alt tab, copy paste, copy paste. Not efficient, right? So now what am I going to do? In this case, I want you to write a prompt which I can paste directly into Mentimeter so that it creates the slides by itself. Before you proceed, tell me what will you do? Now, I wasn't sure whether I spoke with it correctly, whether it understood correctly. So I said, before you proceed, tell me what will you do? Now, haven't you all interacted with kids at some point of time? We all have some kids. And then we say, okay, I want you to do this. The kids say, yes, 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 yes. Oh, come here, come here. Okay. Tell me, what will you do? I will do this. No, 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 no. You will do step number 1. And then not step number 3. You will do the second step. Oh, yes, yes, I forgot. So to ensure that the kid has understood it well, we say, tell me what you do. This is another prompting technique. So, and by far all of these are from real life. You see, I will create a single comprehensive prompt. Oh, yes, correct. That you can paste directly into Mentimeter. Very good. This prompt will instruct Mentimeter to automatically generate 10 MCQs in each question. It will include, oh, wow. Yeah. Now I will say, okay, proceed, yes, whatever you want to say. Keep your questions ready, my friends, because we have about 10 minutes before we end and we start taking up questions. It's 4:40 right now, 4:50. We take it up for questions. So I have slide 1, slide 2, so on and so forth. Okay. Now, did you realize that this is very similar to Gamma, where it says slide 6? There it said slide. Here it says question. Okay. So now what does it say? If you want a version optimized for a specific template, no, I don't. There is a template, but let's not get into it. It has written this prompt. So one is rewrite a prompt. Alternatively, we realize that apart from rewriting a prompt, we can also get a GPT to write a prompt for ourselves. So I am just going to copy all of these guys, Control C. I go over here, I go into back, and I will say start with AI. Type in your message here, Control V, submit. It is thinking at the moment. It is generating, as you see on the left-hand side. It says click continue to refine manually into our editor. So we don't worry till that point of time. So all that we have is 10 questions. Question 1, continue. How easy it is. I'm literally not typing anything. Slides are added. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 slides with all the questions. And all that I have to do is I just have to go and say present. I just have to get a QR code generated, send it to participants. They take this. Now it's waiting for the players. And I can just say start the quiz from here, whoever is the leaderboard, etc. All of those things which we do is over here on the left-hand side. Snap. So it's not just about learners. The learners aspect I demonstrated, how easy it can get, right? From the point of negotiations, objection handling, so on and so forth, into bite-sized learning. You can alter the content from one content into saying that I want a content for this, put it into this, etc. Now, what do I do? For this activity that we have done, I would like to report it to the senior management on what are we doing with respect to pressures and to ensure that they have understood things well. So based on this activity, help me with an executive summary. So we have done the activity. This is the executive summary. So you can send it to CXOs in your organization just the way they want it. They want a high level overview. They don't want the details as we know it. At the senior most level, executives see the forest. At the lower level, we have to show the participants the trees. That's a difference. So this is what it does, right? Now, assuming we have got answers, what else can I do? Now, I want you to assume that we have got all the answers and there is a mix of participants who have scored 20% to 50%. Some of them have scored 50 to 70%, and some of them between 80 to 100%. This is an assumption. Help me with bar charts and graphs over here, which I can paste it into PowerPoint. This, of course, is hypothetical, but the real response that you might get out of Menti is what you can paste over here, the summary or the survey results. You can just paste them. It is analyzing right now. Well, 20 to 50, 50 to 70, 80 to 100. You can always download it. Change the color to cobalt blue. For those who know hash 1234 CC is a very specific color of cobalt blue. And if I just go over here and I say this is the color I'm referring to. Very specific, very specific. So what will I do? Change the color to this. Why? Because once you have done something, you also want it to get aligned with your corporate colors, branding, logos, etc. Even that, it's kind of possible that it just does that. It understands it very well, and it gives you precisely what you have been requesting. Do you see this? And you see this? So it can go to this extent. What else? And this is just the beginning, right? We have about, say, 3 minutes before we get into Q&A. So the versatility, role-based variations of the same content, we already saw that, right? Change from this, the format, the tone, the bullet points, so on and so forth. We haven't seen tables, etc. We can always do that. Micro-learning nuggets, assessment and knowledge checks. We just did that, right? Scenario-based learning. What was it? For sales, negotiations, objection handling, and that too scenario-based learning in micro nuggets. Simulated conversations. We can do that. We can have a conversation with the LLM. Infographic descriptions. I just showed you a description, infographic, changing colors, charts, graphs, so on and so forth. You can create your own SOPs, right? As well as checklists. Employee welcome messages. You can have gamification over there. Personalized learning path, enablement toolkit, FAQs. Just define it and create the FAQs for you. Translation and localization, chatbot, videos. So, chat, an example of what it can do for you when it comes to, say, for example, you also would be working with, say, for example, Excel, Microsoft Excel. So, assuming the fact that you're working with Microsoft Excel and you have a problem, which typically a lot of people have a problem with, say, for example, a VLOOKUP. So what will I do? Give me a moment. And I will just open up a file and browse here. Give me a sec. Business. Last but not least, it can do this for you. You have got students or employees. The city is there, but somehow the state is missing. How do you find the state? We look up. Oh my God, we look up. Oh wow, we look up. What do I do? So we look up is easy. We look up, click, comma, select, comma 2, comma 0. Okay, I did something wrong. FNG. See, I've been doing it for donkey's years now, at least more than 15 years now. I can do it in sleep. But if I have to tell you to do this, it's so alien. So what do we do over here? Hear me out. Hear me out. मेरे पास एक एक्सेल शीट है जहां पर कॉलम सी में शहर के नाम है और कॉलम डी में उसके करस्पॉन्डिंग स्टेट के नाम मिसिंग है। मेरे पास उसी एक्सेल शीट में कॉलम एफ और जी है जहां पर सारे के सारे शहर और उसके करस्पॉन्डिंग स्टेट्स के नाम है। बताइए मुझे क्या करना चाहिए? आपका जवाब मुझे अंग्रेजी में चाहिए। लोकलाइजेशन, पर्सनलाइजेशन, लैंग्वेज, doesn't matter. We are beyond that. I spoke in Hindi, it understood that, and I said, "Tell me what should I do?" Because I don't even know there is something known as VLOOKUP that exists. I just described my problem, saying that in an Excel sheet I have this, but this is missing. I also have this. Tell me what should I do? Did I utter the word VLOOKUP anywhere over here? Can you find that? Nope. It does this. Copy code. I go over here, go to the formula bar, Control V, places where it did not find it, it'll say not find. So instead of this, I type some random name. Obviously, there is no city by this name, so it says not found. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this webinar where we still have 8 minutes. What we do, this is for question and answers, questions which you might want to maybe unmute yourself and speak out. Alternatively, you might just want to put it on chat, and I will be happy to answer all of those. If at all you want maybe a kind of the next level of demonstration for your organization, doesn't matter which function, which hierarchy, who is using it. If you want that, I'm happy to work with my friends over here at Skillemme and demonstrate all these things and more to you all based on the function that you want, the industry in which you are, your organization specific. I can create slides for that using AI. Okay, all of these things, it's possible. Over to you, my friends.
Any questions from the participants? You can unmute yourself as well.
Hi, Aman. You mentioned about Claude.
Mhm.
What does that do?
Well, okay. Very interesting. Thank you so much. Now, Claude. So Claude is also an LLM, just like ChatGPT, etc. Now, let me give you an example. The moment I talk about a four-wheeler, okay, it's a generic term. So in this case, what happens? We talk about generative AI or Gen AI or any GPT is a generic term. But the moment I say, for example, a BMW, we are talking of a specific brand. So Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, etc., are brand names of individual organization. Number one. Second, the moment I talk about a four-wheeler and a BMW, we also realize that a BMW is catering to luxury travel. But if I want multiple passengers to be traveling, I will have to use another four-wheeler, which is known as a bus. If I have to carry cargo, I will need another four vehicle, which another type of four vehicle, which is a truck. So by far, all of these will be able to do almost the same thing, but some of them are attuned to do specific tasks like a bus, a truck, etc. Claude by far is very good when we talk about coding. It can write very good codes. So if you want to write something which is typically known as democratizing coding, somebody like me who is IT, who understands technology, but I do not know how to code. So what do? I go to Claude and I get it to write a code for me, which I can just execute. So it's good for that. But if you go and ask Claude to write an email, of course it'll do it. Just like as in a bus or in a truck. Can I not travel in a truck? We're carrying cargo. I can also travel. I can get into the driver's seat or next to it. I can also travel. But the specialty is cargo. So Claude is for this. ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, etc., are good for text. If you're talking about, say, images, etc., then you have Perplexity, Midjourney, so on and so forth.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Aman, I had personally one question.
Mhm.
So as we are moving towards personalization of learning journeys for employees within organizations, And since in many companies which are like huge, people there is one L&D managing hundreds or thousands of employees, right? So they
Mhm.
may not personally connect with them. So that's where we see giving a learner a personalized learning journey, it becomes a challenge in today's world. So I think AI may help in doing that, knowing the employees' experience, maybe certain things what they fill in, saying that what they aspire to be, what designation they are,
Mhm.
and what work they are doing, basis their profile and all.
Mhm.
The system can give them a personalized learning journey in the future or in coming days.
True.
Um, since the organization is vast, so there, how do we avoid these biases? I'm sure a person will code it, or AI itself will be learning, because there will be a certain culture in the organization. So what I understand is AI learns from what has happened, the data in the past. So if there are certain biases in the past, so how would somebody avoid that in the near future? Because that is something happened in the past, and they don't want that to continue in the system.
True. Thank you so much. It's such an important thing. Okay, so the way we think, the way we are biased, even if we do not want to be biased, we, sorry, even if we do not want to be biased, we at times we read things. Uh, yeah. So a lot of times we read something without realizing that this particular media is biasing our minds. And the same thing happens with uh, even AI tools, and we have to be very mindful. Now, say for example, we have been hearing it all the while. I cannot put a finger and say this is where I've heard it, but since childhood, I've been hearing about the fact that men are bad. Men never ask for directions. Male ego, right? But does that mean that every man who drives will never ask for directions? No, this is bias. Second one, women are bad drivers. Another bias. We have heard that, right? And the fact is that also is incorrect. It may be true, it may be by far and large untrue. So this is going to be it. So what do we do? In this case, we have to explicitly mention in a prompt, there is something known as personalization in all of these GPTs, where if you see, assuming Chat GPT, go to the bottom left, click where you see your name after logging in, bottom left, click, there's a pop-up which will say personalization. There, go and say, I don't want any biases. One. But is that going to help? No. So, as a matter of good practice, what you should do is you get a response, you got to get it checked with some other GPT. If you do it in Chat GPT, go to Claude. Now, this is not required on a daily basis, but situations which force you to have a response where it could be something related to, say, politics. Of course, we do not want to get into it, but assuming the fact you are into it, or you have to write something, etc., about politics, about sports, about men, women, gender bias, so on and so forth, it's always better to take a second opinion, just the way we do it with doctors at times. One. The second aspect is all of these models have an ego issue where if they know, they will tell you. And even if they do not know, they will still tell you that. Confused? Yeah. So if they know something, they will of course tell you. But if they do not know, they will not say, I do not know. They have a problem there, which is why they will fake it. You will ask for URLs. They will provide you with the URL saying that, okay, for this research, this is the URL. Click, it will be page not found. For those who might want to say how dangerous it get, read about what happened twice with Deloitte related to AI generated content. Deloitte, imagine Deloitte, right? Fake links, very interesting. So what should you do? You should specifically say when you provide me with links, those links have to be working links. Only provide that information to me which is real. I do not want any hallucination. Despite that, better to be safe than sorry. When it provides you with an article saying that an article about, say, global warming, 10 articles, here is the URL. Manually click that URL, go to that page, See what it has provided, and what you see is correct. Otherwise, it can mean a lot of issues for you, bias and hallucination.
Okay. Thank you, Aman. I think we have shot over time. So I thank everybody who have joined the session today on this Zoom call, as well as people on LinkedIn Live. Thank you very much. And thank you, Aman, as usual, always been very kind to us as a startup for us. No, he's been amazingly supporting us, and thank you very much for that once again. And I thank all the participants for joining in, and we look forward to joining in the upcoming sessions next week. So thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you, Aman.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Bye. See you. Thank you.